Universal just upset some of its most loyal Halloween Horror Nights fans. But why would they do that? At first, it looked like just another ticket change, one that frustrated a lot of longtime Halloween Horror Nights fans. The more I thought about it, the more I realized this might not be about tickets at all. This year, Universal is ending a multi-year tradition by removing Frequent Fear Pass with Express, a ticket that became a staple at the event. So it got me wondering, has Halloween Horror Nights finally reached a point where the event is no longer designed for the locals who helped build it? Today, we're gonna follow the money, look at the business behind the decision, and whether or not Universal is making the right move, or whether or not they've forgotten the fans that have been coming back year after year. So what happened exactly? What changed? Universal Orlando Resort recently made a statement that got the community talking. I believe the statement was in response to a fan's question on social media about when the Frequent Fear with Express Pass tickets would become available. Their statement reads, "As we continue to evaluate our offerings in an effort to provide the best Halloween Horror Nights experience for all guests, we have discontinued all Fear with Express Pass products. Other Fear Pass options will go on sale soon." So what we know from this statement is that Frequent Fear will still exist, Express will still exist. It's the combination of the two that will cease to exist. And the important part about this is that this wasn't some experimental ticket. From my research, Universal introduced Frequent Fear Pass with Express as far back as 2010. And it could be even further back, but 2010 for sure it existed. So from 2010 to 2025, this pass existed every year presumably. So it's been around for a while. That's 16 consecutive Halloween Horror Nights. Think about that. Entire generations of Halloween Horror Night fans grew up using this ticket. It wasn't viewed as a promotion, it became a huge part of the Halloween Horror Nights experience. So why remove something that worked for over a decade? So Universal explains that they removed this ticket to improve the overall guest experience. What exactly does that mean? Express isn't unlimited. It has a finite capacity. Every guest with Express affects the wait time. Universal has to balance standby, single night express, RIP tours, VIP, and Frequent Fear Express holders. So the question is, if Express is already selling out every single night, does it make sense to have guests who could use unlimited Express for dozens of nights? So we have to follow the money here with the two following examples. And for fairness, I'm basing this off the total spend over a 4-day period for both. On one side, you have guest A, a local, already has an annual pass, drives home, buys Frequent Fear, maybe buys food, maybe buys merchandise, but let's be honest, there's a likelihood that they won't consistently, and then leaves. So estimate spending is their Frequent Fear Pass, and let's just assume that they're purchasing the top tier. So they're looking at around $1,200. And then food spend over 4 days. If they eat at the park every day and don't eat before going, we're looking at maybe a daily total of $20 over 4 days, $80 total. So if you combine that together, a local, we're looking at a spend over a 4-day period of $1,219.99. And that's not taking into consideration that this member could still come multiple different nights with no additional pass expense. On the other side, we have guest B, the vacationer, books 4 nights at a Universal hotel, buys 3 park tickets, buys HHN tickets, buys Express, buys food, maybe some merchandise, maybe some souvenirs. Not all of them will, but there's a higher likelihood. Enjoys City Walk and some of its offerings. And then we're looking at a completely different picture. They're spending over 2 days, we're just averaging it out here. If they're buying single night tickets for Halloween Horror Nights, $200. If they're doing the 3 park ticket so that they could experience the park throughout their 4-day trip, we're talking about $415. For the 4-night hotel, we're averaging it around $250. That could be much higher depending on the hotel that they pick, or a little bit lower, but $250 is a nice average number. So on average, they're paying about $1,000 for the hotel, and that's not including taxes. We didn't include taxes in any of these numbers. Then they get Express for one of the nights, let's say, it's $220. If they get it for 2 of the nights, that's $440. And that's on the lower end. It does go much higher than that. Food on average over those 4 days, we're talking about $240 because a vacationer has breakfast, lunch, and dinner to take into consideration since they're not close to home. And then let's say a small amount that they may spend, more likely than a local, on merch, which is about, let's say, $150. And let's just toss it all together with some city walk expenses that they accumulate over the 4 days of $100. I think that's, a conservative number. For a total, that's $2,325 for the vacationer. And then if the vacationer has a great overall experience, they may come back next year and they only attend the event for 4 nights. Also take into consideration, most vacationers don't travel solo. On average, it's probably 2 to 3 people, which throws the numbers in favor of the vacationer so much higher. A local would have to visit another 53 days, taking into consideration that they have no additional ticket entry expense, and taking into consideration that hopefully they're eating every single time they visit 53 days in order to produce the same amount of revenue that one vacationer produces in 4 days. Universal in these cases isn't just producing revenue from Halloween Horror Nights. They're earning it from the whole entire vacation. And this is especially true because Universal is no longer looking to be your weekend vacation. They're looking to expand to your week-long destination with expansions like Epic Universe. Why that matters? Well, Universal is now competing for your Disney vacations, the entire family vacation, 5-night stays, 7-night stays. That's where the money is. Destination guests tend to buy premium hotels, express, merchandise, dining plans, photo packages, additional park days. Locals generally don't. That doesn't make them less important though. It just means they're worth less financially per trip. But here's the other side to that argument. Locals are who create the opening night hype. They fill slower weekdays. They generate social media content. They bring friends. They buy annual passes. They become lifelong ambassadors. Without the locals, Halloween Horror Nights would not have become what it is today. And that's why this hurts. It feels like one of the event's biggest traditions just disappeared. Now, I don't think that Universal removed this ticket because they dislike the locals. I think they removed it because Halloween Horror Nights has become so successful that the economics have changed. When a destination event becomes popular enough, eventually it stops asking, how do we reward our biggest fans? And it starts asking, how do we maximize every available spot? Whether you agree with this decision or not, one thing is undeniable. Universal just ended a multi-year tradition. And when something lasts that long before disappearing, it's usually because something bigger has changed. I don't necessarily think that Universal made the wrong decision. I do think they made the difficult one. But do you think Universal made the right decision? Or do you think Universal has forgotten the fans that helped make Halloween Horror Nights what it is today? And whether you like it or not, I think this tells us exactly where Halloween Horror Nights is headed over the next decade. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, a like and a subscribe would be greatly appreciated. Guys, we will see you very soon in the fog. But up till then, don't forget to ask yourself, have you been entertained?